So now we are launching on a very big voyage, you see, big journey, long journey, you see. In fact, what we have seen in the last two cantos was the basic issue of this creation, that the divine event has to move forward, that there is something coming in the way of the divine event, the mind of night, the obstacle which is there on the way, that has to be removed, and that has got to be done by the divine Shakti herself. So when she comes here, takes the mortal birth, she has an issue. Either just let things go on as they are going on, or else you the ways of immortality. You the ways of immortality. In fact, really speaking, there is no alternative. She has to hew the way of immortality in immortal creation. And therefore, she is now kind of organizing herself in every respect to take up the challenge, the problem for which she has been missioned to come here to take the mortal birth. And we saw last time, a flaming warrior from the eternal peaks, empowered to force the door, denied and closed, smote from death's visage, is dumb absolute, and by the bounds of consciousness and time. He has already prepared here the necessary basis for what he is going to tell you in the next canto. A flaming warrior from the eternal peaks. Of course, this flaming warrior is Savitri herself, and this flaming warrior is coming from the eternal peaks, from the greatest height, from Brahma Shikhara, if you want to call it, eternal height, Brahma Shikhara. She is coming from the Brahma Shikhara, the summit, the topmost, you see. And she is coming from Brahma Shikhara, flaming the eternal peaks, and she is a flaming warrior. The fact that she is coming from the eternal peaks, it means that he has already told you that she is the divine incarnation. The sense is that she is the divine incarnation. And when the divine incarnation comes here, she comes here as a warrior with blazing spirit, blazing soul, blazing power, you see. She comes as a warrior, you see, from the eternal peaks. Now, although she is coming from the eternal peaks and she is a flaming warrior, yet she is empowered to force. Empowered. It is not that she has that power of her own to force the door. It is the Supreme Himself who has kind of sent her from the eternal peaks to open the doors. To open the doors, you see. Doors that are closed, so that the divine light, divine power, divine illumination can enter in this creation, you see. Empowered to force the door, denied and closed, smote from death's visage. Smote, she is going to smite the face of death. It's dumb absolute. It is she who is going to smite the face of death, that face which is a dumb absolute. Now, this phrase, dumb absolute, is again a very powerful phrase in the sense that behind that death, there is something very absolute in it. In other words, that warrior has to meet what is very absolute in death himself. And that absolute is dumb, is not expressed, has not come to expression into its play of activity here. So it is that she has to remove that thing completely. In other words, the kind of job she has to do, that warrior has to fight out. The issue is that deep, that great, that powerful, that overpowering, that it is concerned with the dumbness of the absolute. The void is there, it has not manifested, it is not able to come into manifestation, and things had to come into manifestation, and it is that which has to open out, you see. And therefore, it is she who has been empowered to see that the dumb absolute opens out. The door is opened out, you see, from the dumb absolute, you see. So, in other words, we have here the entire measure of who Savitri is, what she is going to do, what kind of problem she is going to face, and how she is going to tackle it. Once she has smote the face of the dumb absolute, then the bounds of consciousness and time break out. The floods are flowing now continuously. The divine manifestation, the creation starts flowing onward from that point onward. So actually in these three lines, you have here basically the kind of person she is, what she is going to do, and what is going to be achieved as a result of that, you see. Now it is in that context now, we have to see what is going to happen. Yeah.
I'm wondering, I will try to explain my question. It's a little bit. Now we saw this mission of Savitri. Yes. And we saw also that Savitri and Sri Aurobindo, if you want, Mother Sri Aurobindo, they are the avatar, or Savitri or Satyavan. They are coming many times, each cycle, and they repeat. But this time, they are coming to conquer the death. My question is, did they come before the other cycle also with this intention and they couldn't do it? Or it's only this time they came with this mission?
You see, our problem is, we see in the totality of the work of this incarnation in segments. In segments. Oh, mother has come now like this. Oh, mother has come now like that. Oh, mother has come like that. But that is our incapacity to see the totality of the picture which is there behind all these incarnations and the work which continuously goes on. In the totality, in the integrality of the operation, it is one single job which is going on right from the beginning of the earth. But we start seeing into segments. We start seeing into segments. Oh, will the mother come like that? Well, she is there, her work is going on. We are not able to understand the connections, which is our fault, our limitation, basically, you see. But historically speaking, you see, that is why Savitri is also a symbol of the totality of the divine incarnation engaged in a given work. Her work, her task is to hew the ways of immortality in immortal creation. How she is going to do? Well, she has done today like this, tomorrow she is going to do like that, day after tomorrow she is going to do like that. But she is continuously occupied with that job, with that task, with that mission. So, a flaming warrior from the eternal peace. Now, the problem is, she is not going to come of her own. She is not going to come of her own. Well, she is there, she knows the problem, she knows the difficulty, she sees everything from above. Therefore, she does not mean that she is going to jump into this fray here, into this creation. You see, she is watching perhaps the whole thing also. She is not going to jump of her own accord. She needs an invitation. She needs a call. She needs a compulsion. A world desire compelled her mortal birth. She has to be compelled. Yes, madam, you are there. That is not going to do. You have to come down here and do the work here in this creation, you see. Compelled her mortal birth. Now, it is with this we are starting what I would call Ashwapati's Yoga. From this point onward, from 5.1 onward, till 92.16 or whatever that thing is there, we are engaged with Ashwapati's Yoga. I think I have given you some statistics, no? Ashwapati's Yoga, it starts from section 5, 5.1 to 92.15. That is Ashwapati's Yoga. Over 88 sections, 22 cantos. 22 cantos, 88 sections. His work, his yoga is spread over such a length. There are in all 2,553 lines, sentences describing Ashwapati's Yoga. 2,553 sentences, or 10,966 lines dealing with Ashwapati's Yoga. In a total 10,966, in a total of 23,811 lines of Savitri. Almost half. Actually, part 1, what we are doing of Savitri, has 11,674 lines. Out of that, roughly 700 lines are sections of Canto 1 and Canto 2, symbol down issue. The rest, all these lines pertain to Ashwapati's Yoga, 10,966 lines, you see, in part 1. So you can imagine the importance of part 1 vis-a-vis the Yoga of Ashwapati. In fact, part 2 and part 3, the second half of Savitri, in terms of bulk, has 12,137 lines. So basically, the first half is roughly 11,000 odd lines, and second half is 12,000 lines. Half of it. So half of this Savitri is essentially devoted to Ashwapati's Yoga. The total number of Savitri, you see, there are 12 books, 49 cantos, 159 sections in whole of Savitri. 5,771 sentences, or 23,811 lines in Savitri total. Out of that, we are saying Ashwapati's Yoga has 10,966 lines. So in terms of the sheer bulk of Savitri composition, you can say that 50% belongs to Ashwapati and 50% belongs to Savitri. So naturally, a kind of a curiosity, a dilemma arises in our mind. How come then that if half of is devoted to Ashwapati, the book is still called Savitri? You see, the book is still called Savitri, you see, because 50% really does not belong to her. It belongs to Ashwapati, the yogi, you see. So that is a kind of a little dilemma. But I think there is a much deeper meaning behind this kind of a necessity to give 50% space to Ashwapati in the book called Savitri. You see, Shivendu writes in one of his letters that Ashwapati Yoga consists of essentially 3 stages. The yoga as an individual, the yoga as a cosmic being, Virata Purusha, and yoga as the transcendent Purusha, Satchidananda. He has the aspect of the individual, he has the aspect of the universal, he has the aspect of the transcendental. All the 3 aspects of yoga are present in Ashwapati's yoga. Unless all these 3 are present, he cannot achieve what has to be achieved, for which he has taken the mortal birth. All the 3 are required. Because he has taken the human birth, because in incarnation and accepted the mortal conditions here, he has to release himself from mortality. He has to overpower, he has to understand completely, you see. See, his soul has taken the mortal birth, so the soul should be free, released from ignorance and all the things which are connected with mortality. It has to be free of that, first thing. Then he has to have the cosmic vision, what their soul is going to do. His spirit is also there, and his spirit should be free of the forces of nature which tie him down to this earth. In other words, he has to have here itself on earth complete freedom, complete liberation, complete mukti, complete moksha, as the tradition would call, complete moksha. He has to achieve complete moksha, complete freedom, liberation, here itself in immortal creation. And for that, he has to do the individual's yoga. So Ashwapati comes as an individual, takes the mortal birth, accepts the mortal condition, and now he is freeing himself from the mortal conditions. Once he is free from the mortal condition, then he can very easily, very freely move in all the cosmic worlds. Wherever he wants to go, he can go freely, because now he is not tied with the individual at all. He can go to the world of mind, he can go to the world of matter, he can go to the world of life, he can go to the worlds of the gods. Wherever he wants, he can freely move and explore what is here, what is here, what is here, what is here. In the entire picture of the cosmic manifestation, he has to know fully, and with that freedom, he is now able to move around everywhere. So that is the cosmic yoga which he is going to do as the next step. After doing that thing, then he does the yoga in Satchidananda, in the supreme creation itself. In the house of the spirit, he builds a new creation which should come down in the mortal world. And then in order that that creation has to manifest itself here, it becomes necessary for him to invoke the divine power, the divine Shakti, to take the mortal birth. It is at that point then he has to compel her that she must take the mortal birth. At that point, you see. In other words, Ashwapati has taken the mortal birth. He has freed himself from all the bondages of mortality. He is now able to freely move in all these cosmic worlds, freely move. And then in the transcendent, he creates a new world altogether, and he wants now that world to be established here upon earth. That is the work which Ashwapati is engaged with. Ashwapati's yoga is concerned with that, you see. So it's a very big job. In fact, the entire thing is, the soul's release and spirit's freedom as an individual, that is taken for granted. That is the given. After that, he has to move in the cosmic worlds. Now, in the cosmic world, he has to see what kind of forces operate from these various planes upon the earth, so that they should not come in the way of the manifestation that should come upon the earth. He should make kind of sure that, okay, mental, vital, whatever forces are operating there, they should not come as a block in bringing down what he wants to bring down here upon this earth. So that is one thing. The second thing is, when he is going through all these worlds, in the book of the Traveler's World, second book, that is what we will do later on, the second book, what Ashwapati is doing is, he is exploring all this cosmic world. Now, as an avatar, as an incarnation, when he goes to this world, 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 what does he do? He does not go there as a traveler, as a tourist, to see, okay, let me see what is here, what is here, what is here. He does not just go for that kind of a thing. He understands the entire nature of this creation, and he lives his divine presence at that place. So when you go to Paris, what you are really going to do is, you are going to live your presence in Paris. When you go to Rome, you are going to live your presence in Rome. When you go to New York or wherever it is, you are going to live your presence there. So that that place becomes a support, adhara, for the action which you intend to do. When you leave your presence, for instance in Paris, it means that you have created the whole psychology, the whole world, so that the kind of force which you are trying to push is accepted by people there. And they open out to the possibilities you are trying to bring there. You see, that is what the presence means, you see. So he is living presence everywhere like that, you see. So naturally, when Ashwapati is traveling through all this world, he is living his divine presence everywhere. It was not there until then. The divine incarnation, when he is going there, he is leaving his own dynamic presence there, and it acquires a different character altogether, which is a most wonderful kind of a thing. Now, it is that sort of a preparation of the entire Vishwa Swarupa, Virata Swarupa, the wide extension of the cosmic dimension which is there, which is becoming now the Adhara Bhumi, the support, the ground for whatever work later on Savitri has to do. In other words, Ashwapati is in fact preparing the Adhara Bhumi, the support ground for the divine Savitri's work that should be done later on, you see. Unless that support is there, she cannot do anything. So that is the purpose of his traveling through all these 1,000 worlds, you see. 1,000 worlds. He creates a structure on which she can stand and do her work. She needs a base, adhara, you see. And that is what he does. So the second part of Ashwapati's yoga is connected with the preparation of the ground required for Savitri to do her work. Now, all right, the third work is what? The third work, the incarnation, already sees that there has to be a divine manifestation upon earth here. So he creates a new world in the transcendent. So unless there is something in Satchidananda, nothing can happen upon the earth. You want a new creation, you want a divine manifestation upon earth, you want a new world upon earth, that can happen only if the supporting new world is present in Satchidananda. Unless the Satchidananda is possessing that world, it cannot work at all here, you see. It is not out of vacuum that things will happen here. So, Ashwapati therefore does a wonderful kind of a thing, the transcendent yoga. He creates a new world in the transcendent, and now it becomes necessary for him to approach the Divine Mother and compel her to take the mortal birth. Look, things are now ready, the ground is prepared, the world is ready, you have to come down and do your work. So that compel has a tremendous kind of a force in that, you see. In one single sentence, he has told many things like that already, you see. And what a beautiful line, a world's desire compelled the mortal birth. Very simple, straightforward line, nothing complicated in that, but it is packed with occult connotations, with occult aspects in it, you see. And the poetry also, a world's desire, a world's I am, desire I am, compelled honor I am, her mouth, fourth I am, birth, fifth I am. So this is a purely iambic line. All the 5 feet are amps here, you see. A world desire compelled a mortal birth. It's a very simple, straightforward narrative, you see. Nothing complicated, nothing poetic, nothing grammatically puzzling in this line at all, you see. A world desire compelled a mortal birth. And the alliteration is also there. See, this L is here, this L is here, this L is here. Mortal birth, alliteration. A world desire compelled a mortal. Again R. See, R is here, R is here, R is here, R is here, R is here. So double alliteration of L and R, you see. That makes line very smooth, very beautiful poetically also, you see. A world desire compelled a mortal birth. Now, as I said, she has to be compelled. She is willing to do, but she needs a strong invitation. She has to be compelled to come down here upon earth, you see. Now he says, world's desire. It's a very big statement again. It is we who desire that the Divine Mother should come here and take the mortal birth. There is the inherent urge in the soul of the earth, in the soul of this creation, world, urge, there is that urge in this world that there should be divine manifestation here. Means this very soul of the earth itself is looking for a possibility of the divine manifestation to appear here. So that urge is already there, that desire in that sense, that urge, you see, desire in the sense of the urge you see here. Now, the soul of the earth wants that kind of a thing to happen, and it is that which is going to make her take this birth, that urge of the earth soul, you see. Now, in the Vedic tradition, whenever a great thing has to happen like that, even the divine incarnation has to take place here, there is always the yajna, the sacrifice, the fire is kindled, and that kindled fire is carrying your aspiration to the Supreme. What is the aspiration? The gods are involved in that yajna. The rishis are involved in that yajna. The accomplished spiritual people are involved in that yajna constantly. You see, perhaps we are all foolish and stupid, but then there are rishis who constantly aspire for that kind of a thing. The gods constantly wish that there should be something that must happen in this world. The gods, they are working for that, they are there for that purpose, that this mortal creation cannot remain just as it is, it should grow. So there is an intensity of aspiration in the gods, in the rishis, in the accomplished siddhas, realized souls who are there. They are there, they want that thing to happen. And those realized souls, the siddhas, the rishis, the aspiring humanity, it is their yajna, their kindled will. It is that will which is going to make Savitri take the human birth, the mortal birth, you see. That is important, you see. Now, unfortunately, for the kind of the task which is there, the task is there to tear from this visage the dumb absolute, to tear that kind of a thing, you see. It's a very, very strong kind of a job which is being described there. She has to come as a flaming warrior and see that the dumb absolute is torn off from the face of sin. Now, our aspiration, our yajna, our will, our wish, our desire for that kind of a thing to happen is not strong enough, is not sufficiently powerful enough that, yes, Ma, come. It doesn't happen like that. She doesn't come like that. Because there is no force in our will. Our call, there is no force at all, you see. We say, Ma, come. No, it doesn't work like that, you see. There has to be force, there has to be will, power in that kind of a thing. Yajna has to be there. Then only she responds to that. Now, in order that that call, come, come, that cry from us has to be strengthened. Spiritually has to be made forceful, has to be made flaming, strong, blazing in the yajna fire. Now, it is only a great person who can do that kind of a thing. And it is Ashwapati who is going to carry this worst desire to the Supreme Creatrix. It is Ashwapati who is actually carrying that worst desire to the Supreme. My desire is not going to reach her at all because there is no power in it. It's so weak, it's so feeble, it will fade away on the way itself, you see. On the way itself, it will fade away. But Ashwapati is going to make it strong. He is taking possession of the worst desire. He is going to put his yogic force in it and see that that force is sufficiently strong to reach her. That is the entire tapasya, the yoga of Ashwapati. To strengthen this worst desire and take it to the Supreme Goddess, that is the tapasya of Ashwapati. And he is engaged in that sort of a thing, you see. So, Ashwapati is doing tapasya to carry the world desire to the Supreme Mother. And then she has to be, then only, you see, when that desire, that tapasya is so strong, then only one can say of compelled. Not until then. See, otherwise, she will be obliging you. It is not a question of obliging. She has to be compelled. She will be forced to do things, you see. She is not simply going to oblige you. Okay, I will come. You are weeping, crying. Okay, all right, let me come. It's not like that, you see. She has to be compelled to take the model. So, Ashwapati's yoga tapasya is strengthening this world desire to such a level that she is forced to take the mortal birth. She is forced to take the mortal birth. Now, he says specifically mortal birth. This is very important. You see, the Divine Mother, the Divine Goddess, the Divine Shakti, she can take birth anywhere. She can take birth in the mental world. She can take birth in the vital world. She can take birth in the subtle physical world and work from there. But none of those births are going to be of help. Her taking the birth in the mental world, in the world of mind. Okay, she is there in the world of mind. Okay, she is there in the world of life. She is there in the world of matter. She is there. That is not going to help. She has to take the birth in the mortality itself, under the conditions of mortality itself, because it is there she has to do the work, you see, completely. So what is required, what is important, what is absolutely necessary is her mortal birth, not her mental birth, not her vital birth, not a subtle physical birth. It has to be a mortal birth. With all the problems connected with that, she has to accept and do her work. Therefore, this line tells you many things already. You see, in one single sentence, he has told so many things. You see, I don't know whether he is able to see all of them also. You see, we don't know. Still, there might be many things also. A world is her compelled her mortal birth. Mortal birth. This mortal is important. You see, as I said, it has to be in mortal birth, in the world of mortality, Mrityu Loka. Mrityu Loka. Now, why in Mrityu Loka? Why not in the mental world, Manoloka or Pranaloka, life world, or Annaloka, world of matter? Why not there? Why only Mrityu Loka? Because it is only in Mrityu Loka that a continuous progress of spiritual possibilities is present. You see, if you live in the world of mind and do work in the world of mind, you are limited by the nature and scope and extension and dimensions of mind. You cannot grow beyond that. You cannot bring other powers of the spirit into the mental world. They are kind of typal, they are kind of fixed, and they are sort of frozen. They cannot grow, expand, widen, brahat, widen, become vast. That cannot happen at all in that case. Therefore, it has to be, the speciality of the mortal is that it can expand, it can grow, it can become vast, it can become multidimensional. See, that is the beauty of the mortal world. So, we are really fortunate that we are in the mortal world, because the whole panorama, the whole perspective is there in front of us to grow, if you want to grow, you see. And therefore, she has to take the birth in the mortal world, mortal birth in that sense, you see. Because then only the possibility of the spirit can come into full play here in this creation, you see. Savitri too woke up. Now, now he is talking of mortal birth. Mortal birth right from the beginning of the earth. She becomes aware of her mission with the arrival of man. That is when Savitri awakes at that time. She is here. She was lying, as we have seen earlier, she was lying in the state of original somnolence. The phrase in Canto 1 is original somnolence. She was in a state of original somnolence for eons and eons and eons, for kalpas, for yugas. She was there, as if nothing was happening. Silently, quietly, things were going on. But it was a kind of a somnolence. But the moment man arrived on the scene, the process of evolution, the master of evolution brought man on the scene. Savitri now knows, yes, she has to get up and start her work. That is waking up. That is waking up, you see. See, this is a bit of a digression, but I think perhaps it is a sensible digression also. We have been trying to link up the waking up of Savitri with the arrival of Rama as avatar. Rama avatar, when the earlier avatars had cleared the ground, and when Manomaya Purusha had become present here, it is at that time, the appearance of Manomaya Purusha, at that time, man lifted the burden and Savitri awoke. So, the arrival of Ramas as an avatar is linked up with Savitri waking up in the story of Savitri. Now, I will make a guess, I will hazard a possibility. You see, Rama avatar, he is an avatar, and the story is linked up with Sita, Rama's spouse. And then later on what happens is described in the Ramayana, you see. It is linked up with Sita. Now, there is a kind of a mystery about the birth of this girl, Sita. Sita is said to be the daughter of King Janaka. And it is not that she was his daughter. She was kind of an adopted child of his, in the sense that she was found in the furrows of the earth. Sita means in the furrows of the earth, a farmer found, and then she was presented to the king like that, and he adopted and kept her. That is what the word Sita means. She was found in the furrows. That is the story, legend behind it, you see. She was found in the furrows of the earth, and then she was given to King Janaka, you see. Now, this is something wonderful. Now, she was found in the furrows of the earth. She was so intimate with earth. She was so intimate with the conditions of the earth that she cannot be but Savitri herself. That she was born, she was brought up, she sprang up from the furrows of the earth. Earth's original somnolence. It is from that state she has come up. So I am trying to connect the birth of Sita, which is described traditionally from the furrows, with her waking up from the original somnolence of the earth. And then her work starts with that kind of a thing, you see. So one can say something of that sort. In the case of Savitri's birth, this is, in a way, we can very justifiably link up the awakened avatar of Savitri as Sita. As Sita, awakened. Because at the time of Ramavatar, man lifted the burden of his fate, and this girl is there springing up, and she described in a very powerful way. She could handle the Shiva Dhanusha, which nobody else could do easily, you see, like that. She already had that kind of a capacity. The kind of a capacity we described in Savitri, you already see in Sita, even as a child, as a girl they received. And Janaka has a very high place in the spiritual history of evolution, you see. King Janaka is described in the Gita. Shrivandu has named few of his disciples who in the previous birth were Janaka. You see. One of the disciples, Duraiswami, Shrivandu writes in the record of yoga, Duraiswami in his previous birth was Janaka. So there is a great spiritual merit in that sort of a thing. And she sort of becoming his daughter in this manner and doing the work, becoming the spouse of Rama. I will say there is a very strong connection between these things. You see, if you want to really hazard a guess and take a risk of saying something unusual, you see. Now, a word is like compelled her mortal birth. That doesn't end the whole story. The mortal birth, yes, physically mortal birth has to take place. It will happen in the course of nature and all that sort of a thing, you see. But the tradition is, the real spiritual understanding is for great people, advanced souls, exceptional souls. The birth of the son first takes place in the subtle body of the father. In the subtle body of the father. Birth of the son, you see. In other words, by his yogic tapasya, by his yogic aspiration, by the intensity of a certain kind of an urge, a being is formed within him, within the rishi. Once that being is formed within him, then through the process of nature, it takes the birth through the mother. But first, the son, the child is first formed in the yogic womb of the father. Yogic womb of the father. And when that is ready, then it is ready to take the birth. Now, that is exactly what Ashwapati is engaged with. Ashwapati's long tapasya of those 11,000 lines is actually to give birth to such a child in himself first. In himself first. And when that birth is ready inside him, then it is passed on to the nature, to the mother, and then comes out physically, you see. So Ashwapati's yogic sadhana is to create a sufficiently warm, strong, blazing womb where such a child can be formed. And when such a child is formed, then his job is done. He will be taken care of, you see. So that mortal birth is really very strong birth kind of a thing. It has to be first formed within him. In fact, how many of us are aware? None, you see. When a couple engages in the creative act, in the sex act and all that thing, nobody has that kind of relation that the child should be first formed within you. The father should form the child first within you, and then he has to pass it on to the mother, you see.
Even a girl.
Huh?
Even a girl, not only
Yeah.
a boy.
Nobody knows that.
No.
No,
Boy and girl?
boy and girl.
Anybody.
Same, everybody.
Anybody. That is immaterial.
Who said this?
First thing is the child. I have been saying child, not girl or boy.
Child,
First,
yeah.
the womb, the yogic womb within, it is there that the child has to be born.
Yes. But this is a yogic process.
It is a yogic process. Not at all. Yogic process. Then once that thing is yogically ready, then it goes to the process of nature.
And where is this knowledge?
Where is it?
From?
Huh?
Where does it come from, this knowledge?
From within himself. He has that aspiration.
Who said this? Sri Aurobindo?
No, I say
Who said this?
no. But now this is a kind of a Vedic knowledge.
Knowledge from where? From the...
From Vedic knowledge that first the child is born within you.
Vedic, from Veda.
Vedic, yeah.
Vedic.
Yeah.
Okay.
The child is born within you first. Sri Aurobindo also practically says that thing. You see. See, in fact, when you are talking of a new race, that new race has to be first formed within you, yogically. The inner being has to be ready to prepare a being of that kind with his ears, with his nose, with his organs, whatever is required for that kind of a thing. He has to create them yogically if required. And with that kind of a creation, then the physical birth will occur, you see.
But why in the father, not in the mother?
Why with the father? Why not? Yes, of course, the mother can also aspire.
So it could be in the mother.
Mother can also aspire.
Aspire,
Yeah, but basically, from the point of view of spiritual occult knowledge and understanding, he is sort of better prepared for that sort of a thing. The dharana shakti to hold Agni within you is stronger in the case of a man than in the case of a woman. And then when that works, then things start happening on the you see. Yeah. It is there. You can't say why. You see, it is so. And I think there is a logic behind that, behind necessity. See, but at the same time, it is not only one. The counterpart also has to be. See, the physical process is immaterial. We are not talking about that thing at all. See, although the body, the son or child is formed in the yogic womb of the father, according to the Vedic tradition, is formed in the womb of the yogic womb of the father, then it is passed on to nature. That is the mother, who then brings up the child. To bring up such a child is also an exceptional kind of a thing. No ordinary mother can do that sort of a thing, you see. To hold the divine Shakti within her physical womb, you have to have something very exceptional in you. It's not an ordinary womb, then you see. You have to have something exceptional in you also, you see. Then it happens, you see. Well, it goes on. A worse desire compelled her mortal birth. In words, here, now, you see, I mean, that there is a meaning, and you can see the whole thing here. So, basically, I mean, there is the worst desire, there is somebody who is going to carry that world's desire to the Supreme Goddess and compel her mortal birth, but before she accepts that condition, he has to prepare himself yogically so that that child is first born yogically within him, and then it becomes a compulsion. Now, he has straightaway launched. You see, he has connected the previous canto with what is going to follow in one sentence, you see. Then, one in the front of the immemorial quest. One in the front of the immemorial quest. That is important. Now, that one, obviously here, refers to Ashwapati. But this one is greater than Ashwapati. There is somebody supreme who is leading the entire course of evolution. It is that one who is leading the entire course of evolution. One in the front of the immemorial quest. So it has been going on since time ages, since the beginning of this creation quest. There is a search, constant protagonist of the mysterious play. He is the main character in the drama of this creation. Protagonist of the mysterious, this is a mysterious play, why, etc., etc. That whole thing is a kind of a puzzle. But he is in the front in that play, in which the unknown pursues himself through forms. What is that play? In that play, the unknown is pursuing himself. I am this, I am that, these are forms. But I want to see who really you are, who you really are. It is not this kind of a form of a structure, but behind that form, who you really are, it is that I am pursuing. It is the divine Tine, a divine Toby, divine Lissy, divine Mark, divine Suniti, divine allegation. So it is that we are pursuing behind each and every individual, you see, in which the unknown pursues himself through form. In other words, each individual has to discover the trueness of his individuality. Trueness of his individuality form, and limits his eternity by the hour. That is the mysterious play, that he is actually eternity, but he can limit himself down to hours, to moments, to small minutes, you see. He can play. And the blind void struggle to live and see. He limits his eternity by the hour, and the blind void struggle to live and see. A thinker and toiler in the ideal's air, brought down to earth, dumb need her radiant power. Well, in this case now, you can't ask why that child should be born in the womb of this one, in the yogic of this one. Well, it is there. He brought down, he took the initiative, he did the yoga tapasya, and it is he who is now asking the divine mother, divine child, divine goddess, divine Shakti to take the mortal birth, you see. It is he, you see. One in the front of the immemorial queen, protagonist of the mysterious play. He is the main character in the drama of this creation, protagonist, you see. And what is that play? That play is where in which the unknown pursues himself through form. Unknown. See, I don't know myself who I am. The unknown knows who I am, and it is he who is trying to see, look, this fellow is like this, that unknown. It is unknown, it is not unknowable. That unknowable cannot pursue it all. Unknown is pursuing these forms still. In which the unknown pursues himself through form and limits his eternity. That is the mysterious play. He limits the eternity by the hours, that he can become minutes. There is a vastness of infinity, but he can become field, small shop, small ground, like that. He can become like that, you see. And the blind void struggles to live and see. In the mysterious way, the blind void, the total absence of the divine. Because it is total absence of the divine, therefore it is blind also. It does not see what it is there for, what is its purpose, what it is going to do. Struggles to live and see. It is there struggling. Now it is in that a thinker and toiler, a person who is a thinker is called in Sanskrit Manishi. He is a Manishi, thinker, and toiler who struggles, who puts in effort to do something here. Manishi. In the ideal's air, not in the idea, now in the world of idea, it may not be at the moment a real idea, but in the world of idea, he is struggling, he is a toiler. Yes, this must happen, he is struggling, that kind of a thing. Brought down to earth, damned it, brought down to earth. There cannot be more explicit statement than saying that this mortal birth of Savitri means Savitri, the divine Savitri herself is incarnating here in this mortal world. That Savitri is the incarnation, her radiant power. Now, dumb need, yes, that is our need. We don't know what we are supposed to do. Dumb means need is there, we understand that, but how to express that thing, what kind of spiritual quality it must have, of that we have no understanding, no knowledge. It is to that dumb need of earth, unspoken need of earth, the urge of earth, the longing of earth, it is to that this radiant power has come down, you see, has been brought down here. One in the front of the immemorial queen, protagonist of the mysterious play, in which the unknown pursues himself through form and limits his eternity. His eternity, that unknown, by the hour, and the blind void struggles to live and free. See, the whole creation has to come out of it. So he has really again brought out the entire metaphysics of this creation. A thinker and toiler. This one is that thinker and toiler. This one. Thinker and toiler in the ideal's air, brought down. So he is an idealist, and it is that which is urging him, pushing him, prompting him to bring that power down here. Brought down to earth's dumb need. Earth, you see again, earth in the context of mortal birth. Earth is the place where mortality lives. In fact, in the Indian literature, spiritual literature, scriptural literature, earth is called the Mrityu Loka, the mortal world. Earth is called the Mrityu Loka, mortal. It is earth where it grows. Earth is also called Bhumi. Bhumi means ground. Bhumi means ground. Bhumi also means which grows, expands, widens. Widen. So earth has that capacity to widen herself. It is there in that mortal world, the capacity to grow, become vast, yet vast is possible here. It is there that he brought down that radiant power. In other words, with that radiant power, that Bhumi will become bigger and bigger and bigger. Bigger in the sense that more and more of the spiritual expression will come into play here, you see. Brought down to us dumb need, her radiant power. He is the spirit.
Her radiant power, radiant power of Savitri, so. Her radiant power.
Now, this her is of course Savitri, obviously, because it is in this context, her mortal birth. He is elaborating her mortal birth. Yeah. Her radiant power. Now, of course, we can say that her radiant power means the divine Savitri. Not the mortal Savitri, you see. The divine Savitri, you see. Her radiant power. He is a spirit that stood from larger sphere. He has again announced immediately who is this who is going to compel her. He, the incarnate force himself, power himself, being himself, who stooped down from larger sphere. It is the incarnation, that one. He is the divine incarnation himself. That line, this line clarifies. He is a spirit that stooped from larger sphere. Means he comes here as an incarnation, that one, that thinker and toiler, that one. You see, into a province of ephemeral side, a colonist from immortality. He has come here from immortality to establish a colony. What kind of colony? Colony of immortality. A country of immortality on earth. A province, a region, a realm of immortality upon earth. Once he has done that job, then that will expand, this colony will expand and occupy the whole earth. To begin with, in the pragmatism of things, what are you going to do? He is going to seed things here. He is to establish a pocket here, so that that pocket becomes an operating point for him to work all around, you see. A colony, in that sense, you see. Colony, that is what happens, you see. Go and establish new creation, you see. A colonist from immortality. Now, obviously, we have a wrong connotation here of colony. From the historical perspective, the last 300, 400 years, the imperial colonialism of Europe all over the world, see, it is not that kind of a thing. It is not that kind of a domination. Colony means in a new country, you establish something of your own. Something which is different, something which is bigger, larger, greater. It is that kind of a thing. For instance, when Aeneas built up the Roman Empire, he created a colony there, and a new race, Roman race, sprang up because of that, you see. And things happened like that, you see. A colonist from immortality, and see now, there cannot be any greater statement than this, that look, Ashwapati is nothing but the divine avatar himself. He is the divine avatar himself. There cannot be any clearer statement than that, you see. Shivandu was asked in many ways and all that thing about whether he is an avatar or not. He refused to answer, you see. He refused to answer that. Obviously, you see. But Mother has no hesitation. He says he is the direct emanation from the Supreme, you see. Mother has declared Shivandu is a direct emanation from the Supreme. She says emanation. She of course says he is not supreme. He is an emanation of the Supreme, direct emanation. Obviously, because he comes for a certain purpose. Therefore, an emanation, an avatar, you see. So there cannot be any more distinct statement about the avatarhood of this one, this thinker and toiler, who will be later on in Book 3, Canto 4, identified as Ashwapati. So it will take maybe roughly 10,000 lines to define that who this one is as Ashwapati. You see. A pointing beam on earth's uncertain road. So he is now moving on the roads, uncertain roads of earth. His birth held up a symbol and a sign. His human self, like a translucent cloak, covered the all-wise who leads the unseen world. So he has taken the human form now. So he got covered himself now, you see. That's what it means, you see. A pointing beam on earth's uncertain road Obviously, there are hazards, there is a play of 1,000 forces on earth. So whether this will happen or not cannot be said, because all the 1,000 forces are working their own way. Therefore, uncertain roads. His birth held up a symbol. His birth, you see. Now, obviously, you may ask a question, which is a very pertinent question also. If Savitri's birth was compelled by the worst desire, who compelled his birth? What made him take birth? A pointing beam on earth's uncertain road, his birth held up a symbol and a sign. You see, Savitri needs an invitation, Savitri needs a compulsion, Savitri needs a ground preparation for her to do her work, you see. But his birth, yes, he has come here, but why? What for? Who has invited you? You see. That question remains unanswered. It remains unanswered if you see only this part. But it is in the very nature of things, he comes here again and again to take evolution forward. It is indeed an invitation. It is a part of his transcendental job to have these things done. The mortal world is his concern. The mortal world is concerned. Mrityu Loka is his concern. And he cannot remain away from this Mrityu Loka. Mrityu Loka has to make a progress. And whatever is required, for that he comes again and again, yuge, yuge. I come here, sambhavami, I appear here, I appear. Sambhavami, he says birth. Appear here again and again to take the evolution forward. The Dasavatar, all the Vishnu's avatar, they have come here for this purpose, to carry forward this. A beam pointing on earth's uncertain road, his birth held up a symbol and a sign. His birth, what is his symbol? Ashwapati's symbol are the two intersecting triangles. One triangle descending, one triangle ascending. And the interaction of these two triangles is the square of manifestation, and in the center of that square of manifestation is the divine lotus, the avatar himself. The avatar himself, with all the 7 planes of consciousness present here. So his birth held up a symbol. It is that he is holding up. He is holding up his own symbol, describing it here. So when he is taking that birth, this is bound to happen. That symbol is very definite. There is the descending triplicity. There is the ascending triplicity from below above. Their interaction is forming the square of manifestation, and there the divine lotus blooming in the waters of consciousness. It is that symbol which is held up by his coming here on the uncertain roads. Or the roads are uncertain, but the moment the symbol is there, the light is clear.
This symbol is a square.
Square is manifestation.
Square of manifestation.
In the center of the two intersecting triangles is the square.
Show me the symbol. Huh?
Show me the symbol.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, very interesting.
held up a symbol. So he is holding up the symbol straight away, right in the beginning, at the time of creation. And a sign, yes, things will be fulfilled. Change will happen. The purpose for which I have come here, that purpose will be achieved. That is assurance, the symbol. His human self, like a translucent cloak. So it is no more his cloak at all. It is the divine himself, covered the all-wise in his wisdom. That all-wise has taken up that human cloak, but that is transparent, who leads the unseeing world. The world does not know that the avatar has come here, and we are not aware of it. That's the pity, that's the tragedy, that the avatar is there, and we are not aware of it, you see. It goes on, you see. Affiliated to cosmic space and time. Now, from the transcendent he has come, from the highest places. He is now in the cosmic extension of space and time, and paying here God's debt to earth and man. A greater sonship was his divine right. Paying here God's debt to earth and man. Paying here God's debt. In order to pay this debt, he has to take this birth, his birth. Yes, God has created this kind of a miserable world, this nasty world, this ugly world, this hostile world, this sorrowful world. So God has to do something himself about that. And therefore, he has to take birth. He is in need, therefore, an invitation for his own logic in the scheme of pragmatism. He has created a world like this, and now, in order to carry that logic forward, he has to come here from time to time and do things so that things can move forward. Affiliated to cosmic space and time, and paying here God's debt to earth and man, both man. He has come already at this stage. In other words, this avatarhood of Ashwapati is again at the time of the appearance of man. A greater sonship was his divine. Although he has taken the human birth, his sonship is greater than the human. He is a son of a greater force, greater power. Was his divine right. Yes, he has taken human birth. He has accepted that kind of a thing. He is here, but his right is the divine right. Nobody can take away that right from him. That is his native right. Although consenting to mortal ignorance, his knowledge shared the light ineffable. Consenting, yeah. What is it?
The depth, God's depth. Why he is speaking about depth? What does it mean?
Yeah.
The depth of God according for the earth. It means God did owe us something. What does it mean the name? No, the depth. Why depth?
You see, things as they stand now, there is death, there is ignorance, there is falsehood, there is calamity, there is mischief, there are hostile forces working here. Now, in the process, this has happened and they have got to be removed. Now, who is going to remove that? God himself has to come and do it. And therefore, because this has happened in his creation, in his process, he has to come here and do whatever is necessary to be done. That is the debt he has to pay. You see, we are suffering. Well, we are not really suffering. It is he who is suffering through us. But that suffering, what we call suffering, that pain, that anguish, that ache, Savitri feels the voiceless ache of the body. Savitri feels the voiceless ache of the body and she awakens to that. Now, that is a part of the process. It is an aspect of a new manifestation. In the certain stage, this is happening and therefore you have to go through that. If you remain only there, then you suffer and weep and cry and other kind of thing. But you don't understand that this is only a part, a segment of the entire sequence of process. You have to allow things to move, unfold, you see. And that is the debt he has to pay, you see. He has to pay, you see. And paying here God's debt to earth and man. In fact, this word debt occurs number of times in Savitri. Even in the crucifixion scene, we have seen already, in the book of fate, he has to pay the debt. We'll read that thing again sometime. A greater sonship, so he is not just a human. He is the divine Agni himself who has taken the mortal birth, but his divinity of Agnihood is always there. He is the son of force, divine right. Although consenting, you see, he has consented. Why is consented? Because there is a question of this God's debt. to mortal ignorance. His knowledge shared the light ineffable. Yes, he is in ignorance, but he has the knowledge also with the light of the ineffable, of the inexpressible himself. See, Narad says in his answer to Savitri's mother, where there is ignorance, there suffering too must come. Where there is ignorance, there suffering too must come. Where there is ignorance, he has consented to this ignorance because there is suffering, and that has to go away, you see. That is the debt he has to pay. He has created the void, he has created the inconscience, he has awoken inconscience to ignorance. That is a great evolutionary step. Inconscience without ignorance was a kind of a useless mass. But the moment inconscience became ignorant, a great evolutionary step has taken place. Great evolutionary step has occurred already. But that ignorance means it will bring misery, suffering, anguish, agony, woe, all those things will come here. That is a part of the whole process. You can't help it, you see. So, where there is ignorance, there suffering too must come. Now, Narad says suffering too must come. In other words, it is not just suffering. Something else also comes with ignorance. You see. He says suffering too must come. Something else also comes with ignorance, you see. Something else like pain, suffering is the same thing, limitation, mortality, falsehood, death. All these things come with ignorance, you see. Fate, they come with ignorance, you see. So, what he says is, ignorance is not the cause of suffering. Suffering is independent of ignorance, but with ignorance, suffering comes. It is not that ignorance is giving rise to suffering. Suffering is finding a room for itself to be present when there is ignorance. Although consenting to mortal ignorance, his knowledge shared the light ineffable. Where there is ignorance, their suffering too must come. He says, must come. You see.